Hello my friends and welcome. There are some booms reported in the Belgorod city itself. So you can see the cloud and before it was the loud bang. Locals shared this information and what they say that there is the office of the Russian FSB, which is some sort of the cheap analog of the American FBI. So we have the video confirmation coming from the Belgorod city. And there are some fire brigades with police on the target spot. From what we know, the buildings were targeted from the drones. Not the kamikaze drones, but the attack drones, so they may fly to Belgorod, fire and return back to Ukrainian territory. And let's check the distance from the Ukrainian border to the Belgorod city. So let's go to the ruler, let's put it to Belgorod, and for example here, so it's 38.5 kilometers, very close. And usually Russia uses this territory to fire the missiles on Ukrainian territory. Plus their airplanes drop the gliding bombs over Belgorod and they glide to Ukraine. But just around 1 month ago, Russia bombed the Belgorod themselves. Let's go to the place of today's breakthrough by the Russian Freedom Legion. From the information we got, those guys were able to take Kazina village, also Glotova, Gora Podol and Gaivoron. Totally 4 villages for just a few hours. Yes, we don't see that advantage on this military map. It will happen with a new update, but we have the evidence from the locals who live in those particular villages. And still it's far to reach the Russian nuclear storage over here. It is located close to Antonovka, but the problem is not the distance, the problem is the natural obstacle over here, the river. Basically it cuts the territory over here and also over here. But it also gives some sort of the shelter for the Legion forces in that area, because if Russia wants to take these territories back, there are just 3 bridges that are leading to it. So this area over here, this one, and also over here. But they may attack from this territory, but they're just open fields and they may get under the artillery of the Legion. Or maybe Ukrainian forces may help to target the Russian offensive in this area, because Ukraine is the allied country for the future Belgorod People's Republic. We know that there are just several units that took part in this operation. Several armored vehicles, a single tank and some of the infantry. I think their goal was to take the territory temporarily, film the video and move back to Ukraine. I still think that it will happen, because they are unable to control this territory with existing forces. But I leave just 1% for incompetence of the Russian army. There is still the possibility for Russia not be able to achieve the mission to take its territory back. Because today I heard the Russian propaganda media and they say that they need to create some sort of the buffer area between Ukraine and Russia on the Russian territory. I think those events are humiliating for Russia as the state that claims that they have the strong army. Today, Russian army mostly run away, and even Prigozhin himself said that Russian army is very incompetent. And the only forces that were fighting against the Russian Legion offensive operation were the border control officers. Well, I still think that the guys from the Legion will go back to Ukrainian territory. When it will happen, I don't know. I expected it to be this evening, but those guys are still there. I think now Putin understands that it's not just him that may play this some sort of the game with the false flag operations and so on. Here on a paper it's the civil war, and I'm sure that all of those warriors of the Legion, they really have the Russian passports. And those are the Legion warriors, they trophied the Russian BTR 82A. And later on they just drove it to their positions. You can see this vehicle is running. The United States officials still say that they do not support if Ukraine will use their weaponry against Russians on their territory, but it's up to Ukraine to decide, they say. Because the origin of this aggression, of this war, stays with Russia. So Russia started this war. Everything is going according to the plan, Russian officials say. Probably they were also planning to attack themselves, really. And here we have the map from the other resource. The green that you see in this area is the controlled territory by the Legion. It may fluctuate because the front line is very unstable, there were no any trenches built or something, so it may differ from this picture. But in general, yes, Legion was able to capture 4 of the villages, and basically it's one huge town out there. It's just long, it has different names, but it's built all across this road. Are they able to move forward with the proper reinforcements, with the new resources? They may go forward. Russia didn't expect that move. However, many of the Russian military bloggers say that this scenario is possible. Even war criminal Strelkov and even Prigozhin, they both say that Ukraine will go, well, it's not Ukraine, it's the Russian Legion, so they may go to the Russian territory. And that is what really happened. Russia nowadays announced the special operation for defending this region. They sent some of the helicopters. One of the helicopters was shot down really far away from this place. In their media resources, they say that they successfully fight against the Legion, and Legion has the losses, but there is no any photo or video evidence of those events. For this hour, we know that the Russian Legion still controls this territory. And again, internet exploded with a new meme. So here, Russians advancing. Great news, just not our Russians. If you didn't know, Belgorod was the Ukrainian territory. Even the names of the villages and cities are Ukrainian. For example, those pictures were taken in 1918. Belgorod, Ukraine. People who live there, they speak Russian but with Ukrainian accent. The Russian helicopter was shot down far away from the Ukrainian border, so this is the hotspot, and Prokhorovka is over here. This is the Belgorod city, so really far away from the border. Why it crashed? Well, maybe it was shot down as many of the Russian aircraft before. Plus, Russia lost the Mi-24 helicopter near to Horlivka. It's very close to Donetsk. This is the Ukrainian territory, and man-pad Igla was used to target that aircraft. Russian civilians started their own evacuation because it wasn't planned by the Russian officials, so they just leave the place. Speaking about the defense of the Belgorod region, officially Russia wasted 10 billion rubles for that. Peskov today reported at the afternoon that Putin got the message that there's the attack on the Belgorod area. Well, what can I say? Good morning! We know from the information that goes to the media from the Putin circle that he doesn't use the mobile devices, he doesn't use the internet. He prefers the standard paper reports to exchange the information and also some sort of the secured phone calls. But that creates lots of the bureaucracy and extends the communication lines, putting the mediators in between the Putin and the soldiers who need to defend the Belgorod area. And without the proper order from the military command, from the highest chief, those soldiers are just running away. And this is the Moscow city. Someone launched the flag of the new Russia that they will get after Russia will be formatted, probably into different states. I honestly do not believe that Russia is able to survive in its current state, within its borders, let's say. Some of the Russian resources claim that they've captured the American armored vehicle, but they are very different. Just look at this arrow on the front door, and here again you can see the Russian soldier in the front, but literally there is different painting on the door of the particular tracks that were used for the mission in Belgorod. So how do we know that the Russian Legion was able to capture some of the villages out there? Basically because civilians filmed that on their cameras. They were spotted in the different areas. Also, there are some videos appeared how Legion took some cars from locals. Well, they need those temporary just to be more mobile. Right, let's go from the Russian internal problems to Ukraine. Russia now is in panic because Ukraine started to concentrate more forces near to Orikhiv. It is one of the most possible directions of the future Ukrainian counterattack, with direction to Tokmak and Melitopol. Yes, Russia was able to build the defense lines in that area, but Russians should stay on their positions and do not run, which I guess it's very problematic for Russians nowadays. Anyways, I expect the counterattack to start very soon, and the current events with this legion in Belgorod and also the counterattack in the Bakhmut area show that something is happening there and there will be the huge move. The United States are planning to start the type rating course for the Ukrainian fighter pilots on F-16s. US officials say that it's the high priority nowadays for Pentagon. Hopefully we'll see those planes during the autumn time in Ukraine already. There will be other countries as Netherlands that will provide those airplanes to Ukraine too. Plus they will participate in the training for Ukrainian pilots. Plus they will also offer the training options for Ukrainian pilots. Actually, I would like to fly that one. We also have the movement for the guarantees for Ukraine. It will be as Israeli model. So Israel has many of the allies, including United States of America. In case someone attacks Israel, United States and other allies will supply weaponry to Israel to help them to fight against their enemies. The same, well, it's actually happening already in Ukraine. We have the weaponry, but we need more in case of intervention on our territory. I think this is the intermediate phase for Ukraine. The final goal is to become a NATO member. You know, I think I was wrong. There is the video of the column preparation from the Legion, and there is the car that has the arrow on the door. So again, this is the arrow on the door. The door is open, so we don't see the cross, but it is there as well. And here's the vehicle. Maybe it's the same because it has the arrow on the door, and also there is the Russian soldier with the red badge on the arm. But what doesn't fit is the weather. It wasn't cloudy really today. There were some of the clouds, but maybe the weather changed during the evening time. As for the grass and trees, it looks like it is the spring and very close to the summertime. Hard to check this information, but the vehicle is intact and there are no bodies and no prisoners shot by Russians. I think that we'll see the story about this car tomorrow, because then Russians captured something. They film big videos with many of the details as they did before with Humvee vehicle in Bakhmut. Alright, we have the new military map update, and we see here that Legion was able to take 3 of the villages. Still Gaivaran is not under their control, at least according to this map, but locals shared the photos saying that they are in their village. So it was this morning and it is this evening. And let's move to the Bakhmut area over here. It was yesterday and it is today. So we increased this area for the Ukrainian counterattack, and Russians just to move a little bit further in the city area. I wouldn't say that Ukrainian counterattack bogged down in the Bakhmut area, but it's very slow for this time because Russia sent more of the reinforcements and we don't want to have severe losses. That is why I expect that we'll use more resources and still we'll be able to encircle the Bakhmut city, because it's the only proper way out. My friends, I'm gonna keep you updated on situation in Ukraine. For more information, please subscribe for my Telegram channel. I'll put it in the video description just below. And now please like this video. And if you want to support my job, there are some links in the video description just below where you may find the link to my Patreon, and also you may just support me on the sponsorship on this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your help and your awesome support. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.